What's up, mother fishers? Underdog Aquatics. I just wanted to show you guys how you can grow some fish fry really quickly using this method. This is a very small one because I only have 6 fry that I'm testing this out with. But basically the concept is this. When you put fish in a pond outdoors, they eat all day because there's all kinds of bug larvae hatching in the water. And so rather than eating a few meals and overfilling their stomachs, which makes them digest less efficiently, they eat many meals a day by having daphnia that are too big for them to eat in the tank with them, and those daphnia constantly produce babies that aren't too big to eat. So the fish can eat that baby daphnia all day long, just like they would if they were in a pond. And so they grow out way faster. Let's see here. And basically what we have in here is a tiny little heater, a little pothos plant that's looking pretty sad, some guppy grass. I should ideally have a little bit more guppy grass than that, a couple of lava rock, and a bunch of daphnia. And there's also some snails. The snails make sure any poop that has undigested protein in it gets digested, so they sift through it and make sure anything that's edible that isn't being eaten gets eaten. When I say edible, I say that loosely. But yeah, this method works really well. I have done it in the past with betta fish and with guppies in a different fashion, in a hang on the back breeder box. But this method is really good if you want your fish to grow really fast. You could scale it up. You could even add a sponge filter and an air stone. You should add an air stone if your fish are anything that doesn't breathe air, but guppies tend to be good with low levels of oxygen. Now, as far as food for the daphnia, I do occasionally add some wheat germ, but because the babies get eaten immediately and most of the daphnia get to grow up and just be adult daphnia, they don't necessarily need too much food. So what I do is just occasionally add a little wheat germ, and you can think of that as like a slow release food for water fleas, daphnia, moina, whatever. So now I did notice that it seemed like maybe in the beginning, when the guppies were born, they were a little too small for daphnia. So you could potentially start with like a smaller species like moina, smaller genera, I guess, like moina, and that way you will have much better growth in the beginning. Or you could just wait for your guppies to get a week or two old and then switch them over. Or you could just feed them powdered foods while there's also daphnia and snails in there. In fact, I do occasionally feed them some powdered foods when I feel like maybe they could use a little extra. I have noticed they kind of ignore the powdered foods, though. They much seem to prefer the live daphnia. One thing you will notice if you do this is that the fish almost never eat as much. Like, they don't fill their stomachs as much as they would if you fed them once or twice a day. But that's actually a good thing. When an animal eats too much, again, it just makes them digest less efficiently. So anyways, try this method out if you haven't. It's perfect if you have just a small number of survivors, if you want to do it in a shallow shoebox so that there's good oxygen availability. If not, you should definitely add an air stone. But try it out and let me know how it works for you, and leave a comment. Like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you disliked it. Regardless of whether you liked or disliked it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.